Shalom, Yasharala. I want to give infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, and Kakadash. Yahweh is the name of our Heavenly Father, whom the world ignorantly calls God. That's how you say his name in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. God is a title, it's not a name. And Bahashem means in the name in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. All right. And Yahweh Shai is how you pronounce our great King's name, to whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And Yahweh Shai means he is our deliverer. And Yahweh Shai means he is. Yahweh means he is, or he is the existing one. All right. And Rakakadash is how you say Holy Spirit in the ancient Paleo tongue. All right. And I also want to give double honors to our teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone, who are worthy of their double honors. And salutation to my fellow laborers in Yahweh Shai, pushing this true count to four winds. All right, on this sit down, I'm going to get into the topic of philosophy and the covenant of marriage. I'm going to touch on a couple of topics to edify the elect, man, and just show how this devil is that we're under is a psychoanalyst. All right, he's a mad scientist, and you got to tip your hat to him. He's not dumb. That's why you're never supposed to underestimate your enemies. All right, he had us on those slave plantations all of those hundreds of years, and he was beating us and destroying us and doing all type of medieval things to us. But all the time he had us on those plantations, he kept us on there long. It took 200 years for him to beat the fight out of us. Our people still knew who they were. They were still remembering where they came from, so on and so forth. But once he seen that he knocked the fight out of us, he started working on our people's minds. And he started polluting our minds, our thought patterns, the way we think. And he started Europeanizing our people. What you call Greek Hellenization. That what was done to our people in the ancient world, okay? And these Europeans, these Americans, they're the descendants of the Greeks, all right, who did the Hellenization, Hellenized our people during the time of our great King Yahweh Shai, all right? So I'm going to go through a few precepts, and Lord willing, this is edifying to the hearers so they can wake up out of this deep slumber this devil got them in, that he's rocked our people to sleep with all these lies, man. Okay, so I'm going to start off in Colossians, the book of Colossians, chapter 2, verse 8. And it reads, "Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit." And that's what this devil does through his educational industrial complex. All right. As soon as a child can perceive and retain information, he passes laws that child has to go to school around 4 or 5 years old so he could work on their minds. With him being a psychoanalyst, he knows it's easier to unlearn than it is to unlearn. All right. So that's why he starts on people young. It's all by design. All right. Because us men that get this truth at an older age, you don't just receive it on day one. You know, we got to read, we got to research, we got to become fully persuaded. All right. But when you are taught something on day one, all right, it gets in your spirit. It becomes a part of you. All right. And this devil knows that. OK. In vain deceit, philosophy is what you learn in schools. All right. Your understanding of right and wrong. All right. Democracy, diplomacy, what we're taught by our parents, what he's given us to taught our parents, equality. All right. All of these things are at enmity with the word of the Most High. The Most High don't teach equality. He teaches there's a head and there's a tail. And there's always a head and a tail. All right. That's what he teaches. He doesn't teach democracy or diplomacy. Our great king is going to be a dictator. He's a ruler. His servants, his servants that he's going to give that authority to are going to be dictators. We're not going to do anything about diplomacy, all right? All of that is a Western thing, a European thing, okay? So you can't the scriptures say, beware lest any man spoil you through that. Once you're spoiled, that's another way of saying destroy you, all right? After the tradition of men, at the rudiments of the world, and not after Yahushua. All right. And the tradition of men is not any man, it's our arch nemesis that teach our people the understanding of right and wrong or what they believe. All right. And pollute their minds. Let me get a precept on who this man is. All right. It's not just any man, it's the basis of men. All right. This is the prayer of Isaiah chapter 1 verse 9, and it reads, and thou deliver us into the hand of lawless enemies. The so-called white men are lawless enemies. And what makes them lawless is they do away with our laws. All right. Our laws is a code of ethics that you have integrity if you follow those laws. I mean, all right. So he's done away with our laws and enforced his laws. All right. So we call him lawless because he doesn't deal with our laws. Okay. Most hateful workers of the Most High. When you look at all of the laws that the Most High gave us to live by, and then look at the laws that this devil have put in place to govern the people, they're night and day. They're in total counterclockwise. All right. So he's a hater of the Most High. He in his system, he's made his system antichrist, satanic. Okay. And to an unjust king, the most wicked in all the world. All right. Now, this is the tradition of men that our people follow, the most wicked in all the world. All right. And I'm about to go through, get a few excerpts and show where this shit started from. All right. And there's nothing new under the sun. And we got to get out of that Gentile mindset, the Gentile way of thinking. All right. Now, this is a clip from what Wikipedia called Western culture. All right. And this is where our people get all their abominable thoughts. This is where you get Christmas, Easter, all right, your holidays, all right. This is where you get your universities, college. All of this comes from when the Greeks came into power, all right. With the way courtship, where you think a man should deal with a woman and where you think a woman should deal with a man. This was all taught to us by this damn devil, all right. Western culture through most of its history has been nearly equivalent to Christian culture. And that's a bone. That's a lie. It's nothing. All right. When we talk about the original Christian church in the book of Acts, okay, modern Christianity, yes. Christianity from the 14th century to now, yes. But we're talking about in the book of Acts, during the time of the apostles and our great king. No, we were first called Christians first of all in Antioch. So that's during the time of Paul and Barnabas and Titus and Timothy, so on and so forth. All right, that Christianity is nothing like modern day Christianity. They're night and day. That's why it's imperative you got to read for yourself, okay? And a large portion of the population of the Western Hemisphere can be described as cultural Christians, all right? And we got to say modern day Christianity, and that's true, okay? And this is all conjured up by the so-called white man, okay? The notion of Europe and the Western world has been intimately connected with the concept of Christianity and Christendom, all right? And this modern day Christianity in the 14th century, they went around the earth killing millions and millions of people in the name of Jesus Christ, okay? In the ancient world, and during the time of the apostles, we wasn't going around killing anyone. All right, we was teaching that our great king was going to come deliver us. All right, but when you read about the Renaissance period and when he's talking about when they Christianized the whole world, they went through the earth killing people, man, by the millions. All right, yeah, wars, where millions and millions of people were dying, man. All right. That's how this devil came into power. He came into power during the 14th century, during the Renaissance period, in the name of Christianity, okay? Many even credit the synthesis of unified Europe identity to Christianity, okay? Let me get down to the point. Now look at this bullshit. Plato, along with Socrates and Aristotle, helped to establish Western philosophy. All right, and these guys all believe in pagan deities. They worship the god of Apollos, Europe, Hades, Zeus, so on and so forth. These are pagan heathens, okay? Look, this is Apollo right here. Apollo seen as the most beautiful god in the ideal of the Choros, a beardless, athletic youth, all right? But our scriptures tell us to don't cut your beard, don't mar the corners of your beard, according to Leviticus, the 19th chapter. To show you is a direct defiance of the Most High's word, all right? The earliest depiction of Jesus Christ would also be beardless and haloed, all right? Our great king had a beard. He said he didn't come to destroy the law or the prophets, but to fulfill it, all right? So he was never clean shaven. That's a lie. In fact, let me get a precept to back that up. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. And it reads, think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy it, but fulfill. So he came to fulfill the law. He came to do the law, to keep the law. So he never had a clean face. He grew his fucking beard. That's a lie. All right. And when you understand Western philosophy, when you study it and learn it and read it, all right, you understand it's all about hypocrisy and lies and fallacies, and is actually oxymoronic, man. All right, and you just in reading this clip, you're gonna see it. All right, now Western culture, sometimes equated with Western civilization, Occidental culture, the Western world, Western society, and European civilization. All right, this is what you follow here in America. All right, your thought pattern, this is where it comes from, and you're gonna see where it birthed from. All right. It's the heritage of social norms. All right. What you know as your social norm, a woman, equality, that comes from the West. The Bible doesn't teach about equality. Okay. It teaches about a head and a tail, order. All right. Ethical values. All right. In this society, with a code of ethics is that you treat every man, no matter their creed, no matter their philosophy, you treat them with respect, okay? But according to our philosophies, what we believe, a homosexual should be put to death, okay? So that's in total contrast to biblical principles, the ethical values here in the West. Traditional customs, Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, all this paganism, okay? This is what you taught here in the West. It goes against biblical principles. It goes against the Bible and the customs of the Bible. Belief systems, political systems. All right, your political system here in America is a democracy. All right, you do things by diplomacy. When you read the Bible is a dictatorship. The Most High gave us laws, statutes, commandments that are to be carried out. All right, you don't have to go to no court and get a judgment of 6 men to come to pass down a sentence. If you see a man and a woman caught in adultery, the citizen can put them to death, can stone them to death, bring them out before all and stone them to death. That's how a dictatorship is ran, okay? Artifacts, technologies that are originated in or associated with Europe. The term also applies beyond Europe to countries and cultures whose histories are strongly connected with Europe by immigration, colonization, or influence, all right? And colonization, all right, you got to know what that means. That those countries that they say that are countries, a history that are strongly connected, people that have been occupied and colonized and oppressed. And the Europeans enforced their ways upon them, okay? Straight up and down. Got to know how to take the meat from the bone. All right. For example, Western culture includes the countries in the Americas, Australasia, which is talking about Australia. All right. And those Australia came and took that land from the Aboriginals of Australia, and the Americans came and took this land from the Native Americans, the Mayans, the Aztecs, and the Incas. All right. And then what they did, they put European philosophies on this land to govern this place, okay? That's what they mean. These devils, bro, they fucked up. Whose language and demographic, ethnicity, majorities are of European descent. Western culture has its roots in Greco-Romano culture from classical antiquity. All right, so here you go. What you follow here in America, its roots come from Romano-Greco society. When you learn about Romano-Greco society, they were full flame faggots. All right. And the men in Romano-Greco society, they passed laws that outlaw polygamy. All right. And monoganism ruled the earth. But you know what wasn't outlawed? A man couldn't deal with more than one woman, but guess what he could deal with? Multiple men and little boys. That's Romano-Greco society. And those are the laws that govern us to this day. So when your woman is mad at you because you go out and deal with another woman, or you tell her, look, I'm about to get another wife, this is gonna be your sister wife, and she say, I'm not having it. That's because she is drunk off of Romano-Greco society, which is satanic and which is at enmity with the Most High's word. So that makes her a devil. All right, that makes her abominable and polluted, just like the devil round about us. Okay, now let me skip down to. All right, and I'm gonna read this. All right, Western culture continued to develop with the Christianization of Europe during the Middle Ages. All right, and the reason they had to Christianize the earth in the Middle Ages is because we ruled during the so-called Dark Ages. And that's when they came into power during the Renaissance period, and they started taking our people out of power. When you read up on the Moors during the Dark Ages, those were the Negroes ruling. All right? When you look at these icons of the original Brits, the original czars of Russia, and so on and so forth, those were so-called Negroes. We were the original Sicilians, all right? We were those people, but our people were going off because they was in that Islam shit. They were the Moors, all right. So when these Christians came into power, they killed them off, all right. They went throughout the earth conquering in the name of Jesus Christ, killing millions of people. Okay. The reforms triggered by the Renaissance of the 12th century and the 13th century under the influence of the Islamic world via and Ardulus and Sicily, all right, the Sicilians, all right. So a lot of these Sicilians that you see with dark hair, like Al Pacino, he's a nigger, man. All right, even though he got that porcelain skin, non-melanated skin, he's a nigger. His spirit bear witness, including the transfer of technology from the East and Latin translation of Arabic texts on science and philosophy. Now listen what they tell you. That's an oxymoron. They tell you during the Renaissance period when they Christianized mean when they went around the earth killing everybody and taking power, all right? He say they translated technology from the Latin translations of Arabic texts and science. All right, the Moors spoke Aramaic and Hebrew, okay? And science and philosophy. So when they say they transferred it, that means they went and took all of the knowledge base that we had, all right, and they took what they wanted to keep and threw away what they didn't want to have. So that means they didn't create nothing. They didn't start nothing. Science they learned it from us. Anything they got it from us. All right, you got to know how to take the meats from the bones. Okay, so what they did throw away was polygamy. All right, they threw that away. All right, because he's a faggot. All right. All right, so what does it say? And they transferred of technology from the East and Latin translations of Arabic takes on scientists and philosophy. Okay, and the Italian Renaissance is Greek scholars fleeing the fall of the Byzantine Empire about classical traditions and philosophies. And that classical traditions and philosophy is what you adhere to today. All right, when we ruled during the Byzantine Empire. We wasn't having that shit. The word faggot is derived from the Byzantine Empire because a faggot was a bundle of sticks, and we put homosexuals to death at the stake. All right, that's how you get that word faggot. Faggot is actually a bundle of sticks. We used to put those bundle of sticks and put a faggot on there and burn them. All right, but when he came into power, he outlawed all that. He was like, "Fuck that. We are faggots. We're going to give them that homosexuality. We back in power. We about to be ruling again. All right. So all those people that had those laws, they put them to death. All right. That was our ancestors in the Byzantine Empire, the Moors. Okay. The medieval Christianity is credited with creating the modern university, and the modern university is what brainwash our people. That's where you get your philosophies from, and not just the modern university, but preschool on up to the modern university. Okay, so the higher our people get an education, the more they become Europeanized. Like my mom, she's a college professor. She's a fucking cool. She's more European than the Europeans. Okay. All right, and the modern hospital system, which is shit. The modern hospital system is the medical industrial complex is shit. All right, most people in the society is sick. All right, and I'm gonna give you an example, analogy how it's sick. When you go down there, the life expectancy of the people that live down there in the Amazon jungle, they live far longer than the people here in America that's supposed to have so-called new medicine, modern medicine. Why is that? Because the hospitalization of the so-called white man is total bullshit. Okay? All right? So let me go to where else I was. All right? All right, hospital systems, scientific economics, but they just showed you that they transferred their scientific their science from the Moors. All right, so they all over the place, and natural law, which later would influence the creation of eternal law, international law, Salakia. Christianity played a role in ending practices common among pagan societies, such as human sacrifice. And the so-called white man, that's all he do is sacrifice. That's what they do in Bohemian Grove in California. That's what those sinners do. They do child sacrifice. He's a hypocrite. Okay. All right. Slavery. Now, how the fuck did they end slavery when 90% of the Christian of the slave owners of the plantations deemed themselves Christians? To show you he's a hypocrite. All right, that's why you got to know history, man. All right, 90% of the plantation owners called themselves Christians. The other 10%, you had Native American plantation owners, you had nigger plantation owners, and you had so-called Jews who didn't subscribe to Christianity. Okay, that's that 10%. Okay, but the majority of them deemed themselves Christians, and they had slaves. All right, this devil's a liar. All right, infanticide. All right, and that's what you got Planned Parenthood from? What you got abortion clinic all throughout your realm for? That's a lie. That's hypocrisy. Okay? And polygamy. You see what I'm saying? See, they demonize polygamy. The so-called white man, these Grecians demonize polygamy. That's when polygamy came into earth. All right? Now we're reading here Western culture started with the Roman and the Greeks. Now let's go back. Before the Roman and the Greeks, you had the Persians. All right, your modern day Iranians. Do they practice polygamy? Yes, the fuck they do. All right, before them, you had the Babylonians, your modern day Saudi Arabians. Do they practice polygamy? Not Saudi Arabia, Salakia. The motherfucking Iraq. Those that live in Iraq, do they practice it? Yes, but your authentic Babylonians were the Cushites. They were Hamites. All right, they practice polygamy. You go back before them, the Assyrians, the Egyptians, so on and so forth, man. All the brown nations practiced polygamy. That was the way of life. But when this devil came into power, when the Greeks came into power, let's see what happened. What our people are adhered to. Let's see what happened when the Greeks came into power. Because we funnel all this information through the scriptures. This is 1 Maccabees 1, and I'm going to start at verse 7. All right? You know what? I'm going to read up. And it happened after the Alexander, son of Philip. Yes, this is Alexander the Great. He's in the Bible. All right? This is who you're reading about. The Macedonian out of the land of Chittim had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes. You see what I'm saying? That this is when monoganism came into earth. When he took down the Persians and the Medes, okay? Where is modern day Persia? That's what you know as Iran. That he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. All right, he was the first king over Greece, okay? All right. Now let's see what happened when the Grecians got control of the earth. All right. Let's see what happened. I'm gonna skip down to verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And he died of a homosexual disease. All right. He was a flaming fag. He didn't have no children, and he died of a homosexual disease. They show you that in the movie. And his servants Baal ruled everyone in his place. They show you that in the movie. And his death, after his death, they put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them in many years. And evils multiplied in the earth. See, when the Grecians came into power, evils multiplied in the earth. All right, these other nations were heathens. But when the white man came into power, evils multiplied. All right. Now, why did evils multiply? Because the other nations didn't play homosexuality. Okay. A lot of them followed the law of Moses. All right. The Ishmaelites followed the law of Moses. All right. A lot of now they had homosexuals in every civilization. Don't get it twisted, but it wasn't the social fucking norm like we read up top. It was not the social norm. That was a social norm in Greek. That was the social norm in the Romano-Greco era. All right. When the Romans came into power, when they took down the Greeks, they adopted a lot of the Greek gods and the Greek philosophies, okay? So they were one and the same. They were two brothers fighting, okay? So when we dealing with our people and our people get mad at us and they come at us regurgitating the white man's law, this is who they're regurgitating, these Grecians. They have their father the devil, because you're going to do what your father commands you to do. So if you reject the Most High's word and you're following the so-called white man's word, you're following Western philosophy, which is satanic. All right. And when they came into power, what does the scripture say? Evils multiplied in the earth. And when they came into power, they put monoganism in the earth. Okay. Now I'm gonna go through a few precepts and show what biblical marriage is. All right, and show why this devil hate that. Okay, this is Genesis chapter 34, and I'm gonna start at verse 8. All right, Genesis 34:8. And Hammer communed with them, saying, "The soul of my son Shem longeth for your daughter. I pray you give him to wife." Okay, and make marriage. And this is a father talking to another father, coming together and seeing if they can come on an agreement about giving their daughter to another. All right. And you got to understand, man. All right. A man in the Lord not going to give his daughter to a man just because he got a lot of money. We're going to give our daughters to a man that fears the Lord, that lives according to the same code of ethics we live by. All right. And it shows that a woman in the ancient world, before the Greeks came to power, never picked their own husbands, because women can't pick their own husbands. All right. When a woman in this society finally does find a man she married, shit, she be the fuck 20, 30 niggas before she get to him. All right, and the guy that takes her as a wife, you not a king, because when you don't understand kingship and how kingship was running in the ancient world, a king wouldn't touch a woman that was already touched by another man. All right, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't do that. A king only dealt with women that he opened that bust their cherry. Okay, that's what that's how the royalty got down in the ancient world. Right now, anybody call himself a king. A woman that call herself a queen be the queen of whoredom, if anything, okay? And make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And you shall dwell with us, and in the land shall be before you, and dwell and trade ye therein. You see, marriage was a business thing too. All right, that's how If you were poor and you had a fair daughter, all right, you could get on if a rich man wanted your daughter, man. But you wouldn't give your daughter to him because he was rich. If he was an Israelite, guess what? He feared Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay? And what shall you say unto me I will give? All right? All right, so now he about to start talking about the dowry. And ask me never so much a dowry and gift, and I will give according as you shall say unto me. But I will give me the damsel, only give me the damsel, the wife. See, so that's how we dealt with marriage in the East, man. It was a contract, but between the two fathers or a father and a brother. Okay, all right. Now, when you got grown, you would go to the father yourself. All right, you would go to a father to yourself, and you would talk to the father. All right. Now, let me show you why Western philosophy has our men and our women at enmity. And really, for us men in the truth, the women we deal with, they become enemies of the Most High. And the Most High gonna kill their asses. And this is why. All right? Now let's go to King David, a man after the Most High's own heart. This is Psalms chapter 89. I'm gonna go to verse 3. This is Psalms 89 and 3. All right, and it reads, I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn to David, my servant. And all right, and all the men's servants are his chosen. And he's made a covenant with all his men, not just King David. All right. This is verse 20. I have found my David, my servant. With my holy oil, I have anointed him. All right. And all the lots fall all the prophets that are doing the Most High's will fall in the lot of King David. This is how the Most High feel about all his men. He's not a respecter of persons. With whom my hand shall be established, my arm shall also strengthen him. And the enemy shall not exact upon him, nor the son of wickedness afflict him. And I will beat down his foes mean his enemies, before his face, and plague them that hate him. All right. Now, this is how our women ended up hating us. All right, in this modern day times, because of Western philosophy. Now, you see what the Most High say he was going to do to David's enemies, okay? Now, let's see what went on with David. I'm going to go to 1 Samuel 25, verse 40. All right. And when the servants of David were come to Abigail to Carmel, Abigail was his first wife. They spake unto her, saying, David, send us unto thee to take him to wife. And she arose and bowed herself on her face to the earth and said, Behold, let thine handmaid be a servant to wash the feet of the servants of the Most High. See, that's a woman knowing her place. That's why the ancient women were righteous, man. All right, she's there to serve, man. She's not there to be calling herself equal. When a man has his brother his partners over the house, a woman is supposed to be in. Let me get your coat. Let me get your hat. Do y'all want something to eat? Do you want something to drink? But women not living like that in this day and time because of why? Because of Western philosophy. Okay, but they're gonna get back in order. We're gonna see sure to that. All right, and Abigail hasted and arose and upon an ass with 5 damsels of hers and they went after her, and she went after the message of David and became his wife. All right, and how she became his wife, they didn't have no ceremony. He fucked her. Okay, all right. Now there is a ceremony after consummation. In fact, let me just show you that he fucked her so you don't think I'm just talking shit. This is Genesis 24 and 67. All right. All right. And the servant told Isaac, all right, let me go up a little bit. I'm going to start at 64. And Rebekah lifted her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off the camel. And she said unto the servant, what man is that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant had said, it is my master. Therefore she took her veil and covered herself. All right, now I'm going to give you a synopsis of this chapter. Abraham told his servant to go find Isaac a wife, and he went and found Rebekah, okay? And he went and paid Rebekah, brother Laban, a dowry for him to get Rebekah, for her to marry Isaac, okay? And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah. That means he fucked her. And she became his wife, all right? And he loved her, all right? So that's how marriage is done in biblical times, all right? That shit in the East with these rings and shit, I got an excerpt on it, but I'm pressed for time, so I'm not going to go in it. But marital having rings and walking down the aisle and all the shit that you do here in America, all that is a pagan ritual that started in ancient Rome, okay? All right? So let me get back to 1 Samuel, all right, to show how our women became our enemies in this society. This is 1 Samuel 27 in the 3rd chapter, 27th chapter, the 3rd verse, Salakia. And David went to Ashkish at Gath, he and his men, every man with his household, and David with his 2 wives, Ahunum, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the Carmelitess. All right, Nabal's wife. And when they say Nabal's wife, Nabal had died. All right, because the law say you're bound to your wife, or what mean a wife is bound to her husband until he died. But when he died, she can remarry. All right. So look, now this is how women became our enemies. We just read in Psalms 89 that he say what he was going to do to anybody that hated David, came against David and hated David. He said he was going to beat their ass to powder. All right. Now, what if Abigail got mad at Ahinoam when David went to deal with Ahinoam? All right. Is David going off? No. Abigail would be going off. And if she would tell David, I hate you and I want the worst that happened to you, she's in direct defiance of the Yahweh Shema Shai's word. And that's how our women became our enemies, because of Western philosophy. Because the reason our women say they hate us is because of what the white man taught them. And then they in turn come try to enforce the white man's rhetoric on us being us in the truth. And it's not going to happen. So when we deal with them like we dealing with a fucking heathen. No matter how much we like them or love them. We can't deal them on the up and up because they're drunk off of Babylonian philosophy. Okay? The scriptures say with the pure, all things are pure. But how you going to be pure with somebody that's trying to enforce the white man's rhetoric, Grecian, Romano-Greco rhetoric on you? You can't. You can't. Does that mean you don't take a liking to them? No. But when they feel played, they come in the spirit of anger. And what do? They put men on child support. They use who? The white man's system. All right? They go out and commit adultery on the man. All right? Why? Because of the white man's system. And let's see what's going to happen to those women. What's going to befall them. All right? And it's many other matters, many other scenarios you can show what happens to our people because of Western philosophy, man. All right? Being drunk off of a Babylon juice. This is Micah 7 and 10. Then she that is my enemy shall see it. All right? Our women have called men that keeps the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High their enemies because they reject the Most High's word, okay? So they have made us their enemies. All right? Then shame shall cover her which said unto me, where is the Lord thy power? All right? That's what they say it to us. Because right now, all right, faith is a gift. All right? What did our great king tell Thomas? You believe me because you see me. You see the wounds in my hand. He said, but blessed are those that believe and haven't seen. All right? Women are incapable of having faith. All right? But us men have faith. We know that a paradigm shift is underway and that we're going to be in the power seat. All right? And when that happens, our women are going to, when they say, where's the Lord thy God? And then our Heavenly Father say, our eyes shall behold her. Now she been trodden down as the mire of the streets. All right, when these prophecies come to pass, the one that asked us, where's your God? All right, the white man ruling over you, you ain't shit. Her day gonna come, man. The woman that left you for another man, her day gonna come. All right? The woman that put you on child support, her day's gonna come. And not just the women. Your brother that rejected this truth, your biological brother that rejected this truth and laugh at you and scoff at you and call you crazy, his day gonna come. Okay? That day gonna come. They're gonna become as the mire of the streets. In fact, I'm gonna give one more precept and I'm gonna end off because I ain't wanted to go this long. This is what I'm looking for. 2 Chronicles 36:14. And this is what it reads. Moreover, the chief of the priests and the people transgressed very much after all the abominations of the heathen. That's what our people doing. They're following the ways of the heathen and polluted the house of Yahweh, which he had hallowed in Jerusalem. All right, our people are polluted. They have polluted minds when you think as a Grecian, when you follow American customs. All right. And the Lord, their father, sent them by his messengers, rising up bedtimes early and sending, because he had compassion on his people, on his dwelling place. And see, that's what he's doing right now. He's sending his pastors, men according to his own heart, to feed our people knowledge and understanding. All right? But they don't receive it. They shun him. They reject it. And this is what's going to happen to them ultimately. But they mock the messengers of the Most High. They call us devils. They call us evil. All right? And despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of Yahweh arose against his people till there was no remedy. And that's what's going to eventually happen to our people that subscribe to this Grecian philosophy, this Roman philosophy, man, this Romano-Greco philosophy, that don't get up and read a book and enlighten themselves, all right? That don't enrich themselves and see that, whoa, I'm in enmity with the Most High, not him. I'm tripping, not him. So with that, I want to give infinite honors to Yahweh Bashem Shai. I want to give double honors to our teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to my fellow laborers in Yahweh Shai, pushing this truth across the four winds. Kwam Yasharallah, Ba Ba Ba.